Alright guys, this is one of the knives I've been working on for quite some time. I tried heat treating it and tempering it. It did not work. The scrap metal I made this out of was the wrong metal, and same thing goes for the small Skinner. Both of them did not harden, as you can tell very closely right here at the top. It's hard to tell at the top, but I know along the edge, that very bottom edge, the file just cuts right into it. I mean, it bites. So, and there's also a huge warpage in the steel as well. I don't know if that was due to overheating or what could have caused it, but neither one hardened. So the metal I made them out of was not the correct metal. It was a very low carbon mild steel that they were probably made out of, which what I made them out of was nothing but scrap metal. It's just scrap metal I found when I was working at Liberty Steel, brought it home. This was years ago, and I didn't actually start working on the big one until last year. And yes, I've been working on it for a while. I was hoping to actually make a good knife out of it, but it was a failure. I chose the wrong metal. That's my fault. I might have also had the heat too high. And I mean, you can clearly tell on the small one here that the file just digs right into it, and that was with a file. That's how I got that shiny little line there, was with a file. So I am gonna try to hand sand these, just shine them up, and I'll probably put them in a case, maybe keep this one without handles. I might even keep the handles that I had originally made for this one. These are the handles I made for the big one. As you can tell, I mean, they're oak. They would have looked really good with it too. But considering it did not harden and it warped really bad. I'm working with a little limited space here, so let me see if I can move the camera. So, I mean, you guys can probably see right there. That is a major warpage. I'm thinking I had my heat way too high, or I left it in the forge too long. I just can't believe, all the time I put into this and it not harden and it have a major warpage going this way. So it's pretty much like a little 2x4 that's warped. I mean, you can clearly tell it's got some warpage to it. But hopefully I can get me some 1084 or some 01 tool steel and ordered soon. That way I can actually try to retry to make this knife. I might change a few things up on it. This knife, I might try to remake, I might not. But, I mean, for a first attempt, I did my best. All I can do is learn from my mistakes and just start over. I mean, I'm not perfect, nobody is. If you are, just tell me what I'm doing wrong, and some great advice would be nice. I've talked to a few bladesmiths, and they said mild steel is a low carbon steel that will not harden. And if you can get it to harden, then that would be great. I've seen people take, you know, some mild steel, quench it in water, and it still bend when they do a bend test, which this one I didn't have to do a bend test. I pretty much quenched it, let it cool down. I gave it 2 heat treatment cycles, one with a quench, one air cool, and then I waited a day, put it in the oven for 400 degrees for an hour, and nothing. So these were a fail, and I'm probably just gonna hand sand them to maybe 400 grit. I don't know about the big one since it's got a major warpage in it. I mean, you can clearly see the warpage just by it being on its side and just by it being right there. I mean, that's obvious. It's a failure. But if I do decide to remake that knife or that knife handle, or at least a knife with this handle profile, I will be using either 01 tool steel or 18650. Now, this is still somewhat in test phase, but I'm thinking this is pretty much just nothing but compressed sawdust formed into a long stretch of wood that is probably not going to sand or take any kind of finish to, but I figured I'd just test it out, and if I do decide to continue with this design or with this pieces I have cut out, then I'll probably just glue these together and just as a something to display, saying, hey, I made something, and yeah, it's not perfect, but I will just test it out and see. But I've got my jig set up, as you can tell. This is pretty much my jig here, which is nothing but a piece of wood, C-clamp, that's my toolbox. 50 bucks, scratch and dent from Lowe's. Lost the key to it, or when I bought it there was no key, so I've got to get a new key for it. That's my jig with another clamp, so I'll pretty much gonna end up clamping my knife blade just like this. Tighten that handle up. Let me see if I can get this set up real quick. Where y'all can see that. Make sure you don't tip over. But pretty much just do it this way. Take this, clamp it there. Oh, let me get this edge over. And that's it. So I'm gonna try to get this sanded, hand sanded, but I will let you guys know how it turns out. I may hand sand the big one, I may not. I may actually try to see if I can fix that warpage. As you guys can tell, it's really bad warped. I mean, just horrible. But I will learn from the mistakes of using cheap scrap metal with low carbon. But till next time, catch y'all later.